My beloved child, something has just shifted in the unseen realm and you can feel it. The air around your spirit has been heavier than usual, as if something has been pressing against your peace. But hear this clearly. Your name was whispered in a dark spiritual gathering earlier on December 5th, and it was not whispered with love, it was whispered with intention. The kind of intention that tries to bend your destiny, twist your path, or interrupt what heaven has prepared for you. Yet in that very moment, the moment your name was spoken in a place meant to dim your light, Archangel Michael rose. Not slowly, not gently, but with a force that split through the plans that were being formed about you. Heaven intercepted what was being prepared. A weapon was forming, but a sword of light cut straight through it. A shadow tried to rise, but an angelic fire tore it apart. And the reason this message is reaching you right now is because the interception was only the first step. What happens next depends entirely on your reaction. You are standing in the doorway between what could have happened and what will now unfold. There is a moment in every chosen person's life when heaven steps in, but also asks them to stay awake, stay alert, and respond. This is that moment for you. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Listen closely, because this is where the revelation begins to open. Earlier on December 5th, something in the spirit shifted, because someone, knowingly or unknowingly, spoke your name with the intention of pulling you out of alignment. It was an attempt to send confusion, delay, or emotional imbalance toward you. A spiritual ripple was released in your direction. But what they didn't expect was that your name is registered in a higher realm. Your identity is known in heaven. And when the whisper was released, Archangel Michael recognized the vibration of your destiny. He recognized the oil on your life. He recognized the calling written upon you that has been growing louder this season. So he stepped forward. He drew his sword, the one forged in divine authority, and he struck the atmosphere before that ripple could reach you. Child of God, do not underestimate what this means. The enemy's meeting was interrupted. Their plans were scattered. Their whispers were swallowed. But heaven is asking something of you now. Will you rise to the awareness of this moment? Will you respond before the outcome tries to reach you? You are not hearing this message by accident. There are people who will scroll and miss it. There are people who will ignore it because they think spiritual things are just nice ideas. But your spirit is awake. Your discernment is sharp. Something in you knows this message is not random, because you have felt it, the sudden emotional weariness, the unexpected conflict, the moment of heaviness that made no logical sense, the sudden wave of thoughts that did not feel like your own. Those were symptoms, not of defeat, but of intersection. Your spirit felt the collision of realms long before your mind understood it. And now Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold of your life saying, you are protected, but you must not remain passive. You must step into awareness, because heaven is preparing to reveal something. Something hidden is about to come to light. Something that was whispered in secret is about to be exposed. Someone whose intentions were masked will reveal themselves through their actions. And you will understand why your spirit has been so restless. But listen carefully, the outcome is not sealed yet. It is still unfolding. Right now, the realm of darkness is confused because the interception stopped the first strike, but they may attempt to redirect their efforts. Your reaction, your spiritual posture, determines how this next moment plays out. Do not panic. Do not fear. This is not a message of danger. It is a message of authority. Heaven would not warn you unless heaven already had the victory lined up. Archangel Michael would not appear unless something major was being rearranged on your behalf. Your name would not be revealed in this message unless there was divine urgency surrounding your destiny today. You are being positioned. You are being awakened. You are being strengthened. Because what God is about to unveil will show you that you were never overlooked, you were being defended. And before this moment closes, hear this in your spirit. The next revelation will be bigger than the first. Hold your breath, because the story is not finished yet. The real unveiling begins soon and you do not want to miss it. Stay here. Your breakthrough is approaching with footsteps of light. My dear one, something deeper is unfolding, and your spirit already senses it. The moment Archangel Michael stepped between you and what was being formed in that dark gathering, a spiritual chain reaction began. It is still moving, still shifting, still clearing the path around you. What was meant to quietly attach itself to your life has been severed, but the echo of that attempt is still lingering, and that is why your attention in this moment is so important. You are standing in the middle of a spiritual tug-of-war that you didn't start, yet you are the one destined to walk away with victory. There is something you need to understand with clarity. When your name was whispered on December 5th, it wasn't just spoken like any other name. It was spoken with intention, with focus, with a desire to bend your story. The people involved had no idea that heaven was watching them. They had no idea that an angel with authority over spiritual warfare was already drawing near. They had no idea that the moment your name was released into that space, it triggered a heavenly response. You were not unprotected. You were not exposed. You were not alone. The interception happened because heaven recognizes who you are becoming. You may not fully see it yet, but the transformation you have been going through, the inner stretching, the emotional purging, the sudden awareness of who is real and who is pretending, has marked you in the spirit realm. It has made you more visible to heaven and more irritating to darkness. Archangel Michael does not appear for ordinary moments. His presence signals that something involving your destiny carries weight, significance, and purpose. And right now, he is standing guard over the part of your life the enemy tried to interrupt. It may have been your peace. It may have been your relationships. It may have been your finances. It may have been your clarity. Something about you is becoming too powerful, too awakened, too aligned for the enemy's comfort. That is why you felt pressure in recent days. That is why your dreams have been unusually vivid. That is why you have sensed eyes on you, even when standing alone. Your inner spirit knew something attempted to cross your path. But what the enemy planned quietly, heaven responded to loudly. And that response is still unfolding. You must hear this next part carefully. The interception was not only a protection, it was an exposure. It revealed who has been spiritually monitoring your life. It revealed who has been speaking your name with unclean intentions. It revealed who has been allowing jealousy, resentment, or secret offense to fester into spiritual activity. Someone underestimated the weight of your divine assignment and thought they could speak into your atmosphere without consequence. But Archangel Michael marked that moment. He marked the sound of your name. And now a heavenly investigation has begun. Something in your life is about to be revealed. Something hidden is about to surface. Something that has been operating behind the scenes is about to lose its cover. Do not be surprised if a person suddenly becomes distant. Do not be surprised if someone's true intentions slip out accidentally. Do not be surprised if you start seeing people with new discernment. That is the after effect of divine interception. Heaven always reveals what darkness tries to disguise. And in this season, you will begin to understand why you were warned. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Not to place fear in you, but to stir spiritual awareness within you. Because even now, Archangel Michael is adjusting the wind around your spirit. He is clearing the residue of what was aimed at you. He is breaking the silent emotional weight that tried to attach itself to your mind. He is sweeping the atmosphere so that what was released toward you cannot land, cannot root, cannot grow. You may have felt moments of sudden confusion or emotional cloudiness. You may have noticed a heaviness that didn't match your day. That was the leftover shadow of that whisper in the dark gathering. But hear this. The shadow cannot stay once the light starts moving. And right now, that light is moving fiercely. God is preparing to show you why the timing of this message matters. Something major is aligning for you. Something that requires your awareness, your spiritual posture, and your readiness to follow divine instruction. You are being shifted into a higher level of insight so that nothing catches you off guard again. You will not walk blindly. You will not walk unaware. You will not walk unprotected. You are covered, but you are also being called. Your reaction in this moment determines how heaven continues to operate on your behalf. Do not let this message pass by you as if it were another ordinary word. The atmosphere is changing because you are listening. And before this section closes, listen deeply. The real unveiling is nearing. What was whispered in darkness is about to be confronted by the light. What was plotted is about to be overturned with authority. And the next revelation will draw you even deeper into understanding the truth of what heaven is doing for you. Do not drift now. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Precious heart, breathe slowly for a moment, because what you are about to hear next carries a deeper weight than everything that has been revealed so far. The interception that occurred on December 5th did not happen in isolation. It was a response to a pattern developing around your life, a pattern heaven could no longer ignore. When your name was spoken in the dark spiritual gathering, it activated a heavenly protocol, a kind of spiritual surveillance that only engages when someone is marked for divine elevation. You are not being warned because you are weak. You are being warned because you have become spiritually influential, and darkness recognized it before you did. But you must understand this. Archangel Michael didn't just interrupt a plan. He traced its origin. He followed the spiritual thread back to the one who released your name. He identified the intention behind the whisper, and he marked the source of it. This is why your inner world has felt unsettled. When heaven begins exposing spiritual interference, everything inside you becomes more sensitive, more alert, more aware. Your spirit is detecting what your eyes haven't yet seen. This is where things become even more intense. The Holy Realm is now preparing to reveal the identity of what was influencing that whisper. Sometimes it is a person. Sometimes it is a pattern. Sometimes it is a spirit assigned through someone's emotion. Jealousy, resentment, the desire to see you stumble. What matters is not their face, but their intention. And Archangel Michael has already separated the intention from the mask. You will see the truth soon, even without trying. Do not be surprised if someone's tone suddenly shifts in the coming days. Do not be surprised if someone who appeared harmless begins showing unexpected irritation or discomfort around you. Do not be surprised if you feel your intuition sharpening around certain conversations, even the subtle ones. This is heaven opening your sight. You will not be taken by surprise again. You will not be caught unprepared. You may have noticed that in the last few days, certain things felt out of sync. You felt moments of unusual tiredness, emotional waves that came without reason, or sudden shifts in your atmosphere. Those were not coincidences. They were the aftershocks of that attempted spiritual interference. But the reason you did not collapse, the reason you did not fall into emotional confusion, is because Archangel Michael blocked the direct hit. He placed a shield between your spirit and the incoming intention. The enemy tried to touch your peace, but heaven touched it first. They tried to bend your path, but angels restored its alignment. They tried to weaken your clarity, but God strengthened your discernment. The next moments of your journey are crucial because the plan that was intercepted is now dissolving, and darkness is frustrated. When heaven disrupts a scheme, the enemy often tries to scramble for another doorway. That is why your awareness matters so deeply. Your spiritual posture, your attention, your alignment, your readiness becomes the doorway for heaven to continue covering you. You are not in danger. You are in transition. You are not being threatened. You are being elevated. And elevation always exposes what was hiding around you. Listen carefully now. In the next phase of this revelation, God is preparing to show you something about yourself. Something you have been underestimating. Something powerful, something luminous, something that makes the enemy tremble. You have spiritual authority that you are only beginning to understand. You have a divine calling that is starting to activate more loudly. And your destiny carries a resonance that shakes the atmosphere. That is why your name was whispered. Not because you were weak, but because you were becoming too strong. Archangel Michael has been positioned beside you not just for protection, but for empowerment. He is guiding you into a season where you will recognize your own spiritual way. He will remove the fog that tried to settle on your mind. He will clarify the relationships that need distance. He will guard the opportunities that are meant to reach you. You are stepping into a new layer of spiritual maturity, and heaven is making sure nothing interferes with that awakening. Something is shifting even now as you read this. You may feel warmth, pressure, tingling, a rise of emotion, or a sudden inner stir. That is not your imagination. That is your spirit responding to truth. That is the confirmation that this message is aligned with your divine timeline. You are not hearing this out of chance. You are hearing this because heaven ensured you would not miss it. Stay here a little longer because something major is about to unfold. The next revelation will begin to uncover where the whisper came from and why heaven reacted so quickly. You are on the edge of a divine unveiling, and what comes next will change how you see your own story. Before you move ahead, anchor yourself in this moment. What is coming is powerful. Type "I walk in divine awareness" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this. Blessing code 772 is now released upon your steps. Now hear this gentle reminder. If you are still reading, heaven has already selected you to receive the full message. Keep your eyes open, keep your heart aligned, because the next revelation will open like a sudden window. Before we continue, take this moment to support this mission by liking, sharing, commenting, hyping this message, and subscribing so this divine word reaches those who need it. Your engagement pushes light into places where darkness has been speaking too loudly. Beloved, as this word flows into your spirit, understand this truth. Every time you help this mission, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping souls escape the very shadows that tried to whisper your name. When you give, you become part of a divine harvest, planting seeds of light into lives that desperately need direction. The word says that those who sow into God's work will see an overflow, and today that promise is rising over you like a living river. I hear this in the spirit. If you help my message travel, I will open doors you thought were shut. Let these words settle deeply before you act. Your support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. And to those who step forward, I speak blessing. May your giving unlock miracles you didn't even pray for. Now move with obedience, not hesitation. Heaven is watching your faith. Chosen soul, Something in the atmosphere around you is beginning to rearrange itself, and if you pay attention, you can already feel it in subtle ways. There is a clarity rising, a sense of movement happening behind the veil, like the quiet shifting of winds before a storm breaks open. This is not a storm meant to destroy. It is a storm meant to reveal. And Archangel Michael is standing at the center of it, clearing the spiritual space around your life, so that truth can finally step forward. What was whispered in darkness on December 5th was not a random moment. It triggered a chain of events that is still unfolding, pulling back layers that were once hidden from you. You may not realize this yet, but heaven has entered a phase of exposure on your behalf. The things that were unclear are beginning to sharpen. The motives of people around you are being weighed, tested, and illuminated. You will begin to notice patterns, conversations, even body language becoming more transparent. The veil is thinning around your life because God no longer wants you walking toward your future with blind trust in the wrong people. Your elevation requires clarity, and clarity often requires separation. But listen to this carefully. Archangel Michael is not just exposing intentions around you. He is exposing something within you as well. There is a strength you forgot you carried. There is an authority you have not yet fully stepped into. There is a spiritual maturity that has been forming through every battle, every disappointment, every moment you thought was breaking you. Those moments were not breaking you. They were forging you. And the enemy sensed the strength rising inside you long before you recognized it yourself. That is why your name was whispered on December 5th. Darkness always reacts to rising light. They saw the shift before you did. They felt the change in your spiritual frequency. Your prayers have become sharper. Your discernment has been growing. Your heart has been waking up. Whether you noticed it or not, you have been stepping into a new identity, one that carries weight in the unseen realm. And darkness attempted to intercept that transformation. But Archangel Michael intervened, because heaven is unwilling to let you be pulled off your divine path. Not in this season. Not when you are this close to breakthrough. Not when too much has been invested in the shaping of your destiny. There is something you must understand with spiritual precision. The enemy did not call your name because of who you were. They called your name because of who you are becoming. That whisper in the dark gathering was a desperate attempt to slow the momentum of your purpose. But what the enemy meant as interference, God has used as confirmation. Confirmation that you are chosen. Confirmation that you carry light. Confirmation that your spirit is dangerous to the plans of darkness. And now, heaven is shifting its posture from protection to preparation. Archangel Michael is no longer only defending you, he is equipping you. He is sharpening your spiritual senses. He is heightening your intuition. He is preparing you for a moment of revelation that will alter the way you see your present life. In the coming days, you may begin to experience unusual moments of awareness. You will notice things others overlook. You will feel the intentions behind words without them being spoken. You will sense when someone is carrying hidden negativity. You may even have dreams that reveal things you need to know. Do not dismiss these moments. They are not coincidences. They are activations. Archangel Michael is strengthening your spiritual radar so that nothing reaches you unnoticed again. This next revelation may challenge you, but it will also liberate you. Someone who once had unnoticed access to your space was spiritually influencing the atmosphere around you. This doesn't always mean they are intentionally malicious. Sometimes people operate from jealousy, insecurity, or emotional imbalance without understanding the spiritual implications of their actions. But heaven sees what human eyes ignore, and heaven has made the decision to step in. As this exposure unfolds, you will begin to see why certain things in your life felt delayed, heavy, or unclear. You will understand why certain blessings seemed within reach but never fully settled. There was interference, not powerful enough to destroy you, but enough to irritate your spirit and cloud the atmosphere around you. But now, that interference is being removed piece by piece. What was once tangled is being pulled apart. What was once heavy is being lifted. And what was once hidden is being brought to the surface. You are being positioned for clarity. You are being positioned for freedom. You are being positioned for alignment. Archangel Michael is overseeing this shift personally, because your next season cannot be built on unstable foundations. God is preparing to bring something into your life. Opportunity, elevation, connection that requires a clean spiritual environment. You cannot carry contamination into a divine season. This is why the exposure is not a punishment. It is preparation. Child of God, hold on to this truth. Something powerful is coming. Something long awaited is drawing near. Your spirit can feel the vibration of it already. Stay close and stay attentive, because you are about to witness how perfectly heaven orchestrates your protection and your preparation. What comes next will make everything make sense. Beloved soul, something sacred is happening around you right now, and the deeper this revelation unfolds, the more you will understand why heaven moved the way it did on December 5th. When your name was whispered in that dark spiritual gathering, it did more than trigger a heavenly interception. It triggered a divine investigation. Heaven does not move without purpose, and Archangel Michael does not intervene unless there is a significant threat to your destiny or a significant shift happening in your spirit. In this case, both were true. You are entering a new spiritual phase, and this phase requires truth, raw, undeniable truth about the energies, environments, and people connected to your life. The exposure happening around you is not meant to create fear. It is meant to strengthen your discernment. God is not trying to scare you. God is trying to awaken you. For too long, you have walked with a soft heart in a world that has not always handled you gently. For too long, you have carried the weight of loyalty while others carried quiet shadows behind their intentions. For too long, you have been spiritually sensitive, yet emotionally unaware of what your spirit was trying to tell you. But that ends now. The attempted interference on December 5th was the final signal heaven needed to shift you into a season of spiritual maturity and supernatural awareness. You are not the same person you were even a month ago. Your spirit is evolving. Your intuition is sharpening. Your inner light is growing brighter and more disruptive to darkness. Elevation does not happen without friction, and your elevation has begun. Archangel Michael is walking with you in this season because you are crossing into a new dimension of spiritual clarity, one where you will no longer be blindsided. You will no longer be deceived by good intentions wrapped in wrong spirits. You will no longer carry people who were never meant to walk the full journey with you. You will no longer allow subtle negativity to hide in your atmosphere. The whisper of your name on December 5th was an act of spiritual trespassing. Someone reached for your energy who had no permission to touch it. Someone attempted to influence your direction without the authority to speak into your future. Whether they realized it or not, they crossed a line in the unseen realm, and heaven immediately responded. There is a reason Archangel Michael is the one overseeing your protection right now. He is not the angel of comfort. He is the angel of confrontation. He wars against what seeks to harm the chosen. He destroys what rises against the destined. And you are destined. More destined than you have understood. More chosen than you have accepted. More spiritually powerful than you have realized. Heaven saw your potential long before you believed in it. Heaven saw your breakthrough long before you prayed for it. Heaven saw your calling long before you had the courage to acknowledge it. That calling is growing louder, and darkness reacted. But darkness reacted too late. Now, something important is happening. Heaven is peeling back layers around your life. This is why you may feel more sensitive, more aware, more observant. It is not anxiety, it is activation. You are picking up signals your spirit used to ignore. You are catching inconsistencies you once overlooked. You are noticing spiritual shifts in people you used to trust without question. This is not paranoia. This is divine perception. And as this perception grows, you will begin seeing the truth behind the whisper. Someone, intentionally or unintentionally, aligned their emotion with darkness. And emotions can open spiritual doors. Anger can open doors. Jealousy can open doors. Resentment can open doors. Even silent wishes of failure can open doors. Heaven saw the intention behind the whisper, and heaven judged it. Archangel Michael is now surrounding you with a shield of heightened awareness. He is closing every door that was cracked open. He is silencing every spiritual echo that tried to linger. He is cutting off the assignments that attempted to reach you through emotional openings. You may notice certain interactions feel different now. Some people may appear distant without explanation. Conversations that once felt normal may suddenly feel off. This is not coincidence. This is separation orchestrated by divine intelligence. God is purifying your atmosphere. He is detangling your spirit from connections that were unknowingly draining you. He is removing subtle influences that were shifting your emotions. You will begin to feel lighter internally, clearer mentally, more focused spiritually. That is the work of Archangel Michael restoring what the whisper attempted to disturb. But here is the truth you must carry with strength. What was meant to interfere with you has become the very thing accelerating you. Heaven turned an attack into an awakening, a whisper into a warning, a plot into a promotion. And as this revelation continues, you are going to understand the deeper purpose behind all of this. Nothing that happened was random. Everything was connected to where God is taking you next. Stay aligned, stay aware, and stay open, because the next unfolding will reveal the spiritual motive behind the whisper. And that revelation will be the moment everything finally clicks into place. Beloved spirit, breathe gently as you enter this next layer of revelation, because what you are about to hear will connect every thread of what has been unfolding since December 5th. The whisper of your name in that dark gathering was not simply an attack. It was a signal that your spiritual identity has stepped into a realm where you are no longer invisible to the forces that monitor destiny. And because of that, heaven has begun unveiling the deeper truth behind the interference. What felt like confusion in recent days was actually the residue of a spiritual collision, the meeting point between what darkness attempted and what Archangel Michael blocked. You may have been wondering why your emotions have been shifting rapidly, why certain thoughts felt heavier than usual, or why moments of unusual silence have been pressing against your mind. It is because your spirit has been recalibrating. Archangel Michael removed the direct impact of the attack, but the shockwave of the attempt still brushed against your atmosphere. Just as lightning can illuminate the entire sky even when it strikes miles away, the spiritual ripple of the whisper illuminated hidden areas in your life, areas God needed you to see more clearly. What heaven is doing now is separating truth from illusion. You are being guided into a place where you will understand what the enemy tried to use as a weakness against you. And here is the part that is only now being revealed. The whisper of your name was not only targeting your destiny, it was targeting your identity. Darkness wanted to influence how you see yourself. They wanted to weaken your confidence, cloud your voice, and distract your focus. They wanted to make you question what God has been building inside you. This is why your emotions have felt unusual. Not broken, just stretched. Not discouraged, just unsettled. The interference attempted to make you feel small at a time when God is making you spiritually large. The enemy wanted you to shrink while heaven is calling you to expand. But the very fact that you are reading this message means the attempt failed. Your spirit is awakening instead of collapsing. Your awareness is rising instead of dimming. Your discernment is sharpening instead of fading. Archangel Michael has been clearing your inner atmosphere in ways you do not even realize. He has been severing spiritual cords, closing invisible doors, and dismantling unseen influences that tried to linger around you. That heaviness that suddenly lifted. That clarity that returned without explanation. That calm that washed over you when you least expected it. These were not coincidences. They were angelic interventions. But here is where the revelation deepens. The whisper of your name was not random. It was triggered by something in your life that is growing. Something the enemy noticed before you did. You have been stepping into a new level of spiritual resonance. Your energy has been shifting. Your prayers have been gaining weight. Your presence has been quietly changing atmospheres without you realizing it. This kind of spiritual growth does not go unnoticed in the unseen realm. Wherever light rises, shadows react. Your elevation has been drawing attention, not because you are vulnerable, but because you are becoming powerful. This is why God allowed the whisper to be intercepted. Heaven needed to show you what rises against rising ones. Not to scare you, but to wake you up to who you truly are. You have been walking with humility, which is beautiful, but sometimes humility hides your own strength from yourself. Now heaven is adjusting that. Heaven is inviting you to recognize the size of your spiritual identity. Listen deeply now. There is someone connected to your life whose inner emotions opened the doorway for that whisper on December 5th. They may not have spoken your name with their natural mouth, but their spirit did. Their internal posture toward you, whether rooted in jealousy, resentment, disappointment, or insecurity, created a quiet spiritual alignment that allowed your name to be carried into a darker space. And heaven saw it. This does not mean they are evil. It means they are spiritually unguarded. Sometimes people allow their emotions to mingle with energies they do not understand. They speak from pain without realizing pain can become a spiritual invitation. They react from insecurity without knowing insecurity can echo into the unseen realm. But heaven is not focused on their face. Heaven is focused on your future. That is why exposure is unfolding. That is why your discernment is intensifying. That is why conversations feel different. That is why your spirit is separating before your mind fully understands why. Archangel Michael is leading this separation to protect your next season. What is coming to you, what God is aligning, preparing, and releasing, cannot be surrounded by unstable intentions. Divine blessings require purified environments. Spiritual elevation requires clean atmospheres. This is why you will begin to see certain people drift or reveal themselves in subtle ways. Do not panic. Do not chase. Do not question. This is divine pruning, not personal drama. You are being prepared for something that requires your full spiritual identity. Something that demands clarity, confidence, and alignment. Something that the enemy tried to interfere with because it carries the potential to transform your life. The whispers were a sign that the breakthrough is closer than ever. and Archangel Michael is clearing the path so nothing interferes with its arrival. Stay open. Stay steady. Stay listening. The next revelation will show you what heaven is preparing to restore. Beloved soul, as you step into this next layer of the revelation, something profound begins to take shape. Everything that has unfolded since December 5th has been guiding you toward a moment of deep spiritual realization. And now, heaven is ready to show you not only what was intercepted, not only who was unknowingly involved, but what this entire incident was trying to stop from reaching you. Because the truth is this: the whisper of your name was not just an attack, it was a reaction. A reaction to something powerful that has been forming in your destiny. Something the enemy hoped you would never become aware of. You may not fully understand the magnitude of your journey, but heaven does. And heaven has been fiercely protecting something that is on its way into your life. Something that requires purity of spirit, clarity of mind, and alignment of heart. This is why the attempted interference happened when it did. The timing is a clue. December 5th was not accidental. That date marked the beginning of a spiritual unlocking, a shift in your destiny timeline that the enemy sensed and tried to intercept before you could recognize it for yourself. But God did not allow the attempt to land. Archangel Michael stepped in because heaven knew that if this attack succeeded, even slightly, it could create confusion in areas where you needed divine clarity. Certain blessings require preparation. Certain doors require focus. Certain seasons require emotional stability. And heaven was determined that you would enter this next phase without a shadow of interference attached to your spirit. You may have noticed unusual signs in recent weeks, tiny glimpses, subtle shifts, a sense that something bigger than your current circumstances is stirring in the background. These signs are not imagined. They are indicators that your life is aligning with a divine appointment, something long overdue, something heaven has held in reserve until you were ready. And now that moment is approaching. This is why your name drew attention in the spiritual realm. Because something heaven has scheduled for you carries weight. So much weight that darkness reacted out of fear. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being watched because you are rising. You are being whispered about because your name carries a spiritual frequency that impacts realms beyond your awareness. But now, listen carefully. Archangel Michael is not only fighting against what was sent toward you, he is preparing you for what is coming toward you. There is a blessing forming that has your name on it. There is a shift approaching that will reposition your life. There is a breakthrough unfolding that the enemy hoped to obscure. This blessing is not small. This is not a minor shift. This is not a temporary relief. What is coming is transformational. It is something that will change the way you see yourself, the way you live, the way you walk, the way you breathe. You are approaching a moment where something long delayed is finally going to break through. And that is exactly what the whisper was trying to target. Not your past. Not your present, but your future. Understand this. Whenever heaven prepares to release something significant, the atmosphere around the chosen begins to vibrate differently. Angels move closer. Discernment sharpens. Old connections begin to fall away. Hidden motives rise to the surface. Emotional clarity becomes necessary. This is heaven organizing your environment. What was whispered on December 5th was meant to derail that process. But instead, it accelerated it. Now heaven is moving rapidly, preparing you, positioning you, and placing your spirit in a posture that will allow you to fully receive what is coming. There is something important that must be highlighted. In the coming days, you may feel sudden moments of peace that come out of nowhere. That is not your imagination. It is Archangel Michael calming the spiritual winds around you. You may feel a pull to be alone at times. That is not isolation. It is divine preparation. You may feel clarity about decisions you've been struggling with. That is not coincidence. It is heavenly instruction. You may feel certain people drifting away. That is not rejection. It is divine separation. Everything around you is being reorganized for your elevation. What heaven is preparing to bring into your life carries responsibility. It carries influence. It carries purpose. And you cannot receive it while surrounded by distraction or confusion. This is why the exposure began. This is why the whisper was intercepted. This is why Archangel Michael has been standing guard with such intensity. Child of God, your life is on the edge of a divine unfolding. You may not see it yet, but something extraordinary is heading toward you. Something that will make sense of battles you didn't understand. Something that will redeem moments you thought were wasted. Something that will heal areas you thought were permanently wounded. This blessing is sacred. It is protected. It is destined. And nothing whispered in darkness will stop it. Heaven has already made that decision. But now the revelation turns inward. You must be awake. You must be aligned. You must be willing to receive with spiritual confidence. Heaven is asking you to loosen your grip on worry and tighten your grip on faith. The more aware you become, the more prepared you will be for the moment your life shifts. And that moment is closer than you think. Beloved heart, move gently into this next revelation, because what unfolds here will explain why the whisper of your name carried such spiritual intensity. Everything heaven has shown you so far, every interception, every exposure, every shift in your atmosphere, has been preparing you to understand one core truth. The blessing approaching your life is not ordinary. It is monumental. And when a blessing carries this level of divine magnitude, the unseen realm always reacts first. When your name rose in that dark gathering on December 5th, it was because darkness sensed what was coming. They saw the movement before you felt it. They recognized the shift before you understood it. Sometimes the enemy sees the blessing before the blessed one does. And this time, the blessing is so transformative, so destiny-altering, that darkness tried to send confusion before clarity arrived. But Archangel Michael blocked it instantly, because heaven is intent on ensuring nothing interferes with this divine delivery. You may not realize it yet, but something in your life is about to experience an unexpected opening. A sudden shift. A divine unlocking. A moment where direction, opportunity, and spiritual empowerment collide at the same time. This blessing is not coming from your efforts alone. It is coming because heaven has placed your name on a timeline that cannot be delayed anymore. You have waited long enough. You have fought long enough. You have endured long enough. And now something you once dreamed of, something you once prayed for, or even quietly longed for, is beginning to break through the atmosphere toward you. The enemy whispered your name because they wanted to cloud your sight before this blessing reached your hands. They wanted you distracted so you would not recognize the doorway opening. They wanted you emotionally unsettled, so you would stand uncertain instead of stepping forward with confidence. But not this time. Archangel Michael has cleared the air. Heaven has set a shield around your destiny. What is coming cannot be stolen, cannot be blocked, cannot be delayed any longer. Pay attention now to your internal world. In the past few days, you may have felt a strange mixture of anticipation and discomfort. A sense that something is shifting, even if you cannot name it. That feeling is spiritual alignment. That feeling is your soul preparing for what God is placing before you. Heaven often sends the sensation before the manifestation. and that sensation has already reached you. This blessing will bring clarity where there was confusion. It will bring stability where there was shaking. It will bring opportunity where there was stagnation. It will bring purpose where there was uncertainty. And one more truth, this blessing is not only for you. It is connected to something bigger, something generational, something that will impact the lives of others connected to you. This is why the enemy reacted. They did not fear what you have been, they feared who you are becoming. Listen carefully now. This blessing coming toward you has 3 characteristics. It is timely because heaven released it exactly when your spirit became mature enough to handle it. It is protected because Archangel Michael has been guarding its path since the interception. And it is transformational because it will shift more than one area of your life. It will shift your identity, your stability, your faith, your authority. You are stepping into a season where what once felt impossible will become accessible. Doors that remained closed for years will open in ways that feel effortless. Relationships that were misaligned will fall away while new alignments rise with divine timing. Your spiritual gifts will begin to activate with greater accuracy. Your discernment will sharpen like never before. This is not simply a blessing. This is elevation. And elevation always follows exposure. Elevation always follows interference. Elevation always follows angelic intervention. This is why the December 5th incident had to happen, because it revealed what needed to be cleared before this next phase could arrive. Archangel Michael is not simply guarding you. He is announcing the arrival of what heaven has ordained. You may notice sudden changes in your emotions, sudden clarity in your decisions, sudden peace in areas that once felt unstable. These are signs that the blessing is drawing near. Heaven is adjusting your inner world so you can receive without hesitation. Child of God, something life-altering is aligning for you right now. The spiritual realm is vibrating with movement. Angels are clearing pathways. Opportunities are being positioned. Conversations are being orchestrated. Breakthrough is being prepared. And nothing that was whispered in darkness can stop what heaven has already released. Before this section ends, anchor your spirit with this declaration. Type "I welcome my divine breakthrough" in the comments. Blessing code 1010 is now activated over your next chapter. And now, take a moment. If you are still reading, heaven is pulling you into deeper alignment. Like, share, comment, hype this message, and subscribe so the divine truth can travel into the lives of others who desperately need it. Your engagement pushes this light further than you imagine. Beloved, as this breakthrough draws near, understand this: when you support this mission, you are helping God's voice reach souls standing at the edge of battles just like yours. Every seed you sow becomes spiritual light that interrupts darkness in someone else's life. The word declares that those who sow into God's work will reap in a season they cannot be denied, and heaven is stirring that promise over you right now. I hear a divine whisper saying, "If you help my message rise, I will lift the areas of your life that have been bowed down." This is your moment to move with heaven, not hesitation. Whether through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, your support becomes a prophetic act. And I release this blessing over every giver. May the windows of heaven open so wide over your life that even your past cannot hold you back. Beloved soul, walk with me gently into this next revelation, because here the deeper truth behind the December 5th interception begins to surface. Everything you have felt, every shift in your spirit, every moment of sudden heaviness followed by sudden clarity, none of it has been random. All of it has been the unfolding of a spiritual process that heaven initiated the moment your name was whispered in that dark gathering. But now, heaven is ready to unveil why that whisper happened and what it was attempting to block in your inner world. You have been undergoing a spiritual transformation that few around you truly understand. This transformation has not been loud or visible. It has been happening in quiet corners of your emotions, in private moments of reflection, in the spaces where only your heart and God could meet. You have been shifting internally, and the enemy noticed the change before you did. Something about your inner world, your thoughts, your resolve, your identity, has been awakening to a higher level of spiritual truth. This awakening is what triggered the whisper. This awakening is what stirred the unseen realm. This awakening is what provoked darkness to respond. You may not have realized it yet, but your self-perception has been evolving. You have been letting go of limiting beliefs. You have been breaking emotional patterns. You have been releasing old wounds. And even if the progress felt small, heaven recognized its significance. Because spiritual elevation always begins as an inner shift long before it becomes an outer change. When the enemy whispered your name, they were not targeting your blessings. They were targeting your identity, the very core of how you see yourself. Because if they could distort your identity, they could delay your purpose. If they could confuse your inner voice, they could weaken your direction. If they could cloud your emotional clarity, they could make you hesitant, fearful, or uncertain in moments meant for bold steps. But heaven intervened. Archangel Michael blocked the impact. And now the truth is being revealed. You are growing into a version of yourself that darkness cannot manipulate anymore. This is why your emotions have felt different lately. This is why moments of sudden insight have appeared out of nowhere. This is why conversations that once felt normal now feel spiritually transparent. You're not imagining it, you're awakening. Your identity is strengthening, and heaven is clearing anything that could distort the truth of who you are becoming. And now we step deeper. One of the biggest reasons the attack targeted your identity is because you are approaching a calling that requires you to fully recognize your worth, your voice, and your spiritual authority. God is preparing you to step into a role, an assignment, or a chapter where your spirit will influence others, where your presence will carry weight, where your words will shift atmospheres, where your decisions will shape your future. Identity warfare always precedes destiny manifestation. This is a spiritual law, and you have been living through the proof of it. But now, hear this with a steady heart. The blessing that is coming will require the strongest, clearest, most aligned version of you. The renewed you. The awakened you. The protected you. This is why heaven intervenes so forcefully. You cannot walk into your next chapter carrying the shadows of old insecurity. You cannot receive destiny-level blessings with a wounded identity. You cannot step into a divine assignment while doubting your own worth. Heaven needed to secure your spirit so that your elevation could rest on stable ground. Do not be surprised if, in recent days, you began seeing glimpses of your future self, moments of confidence, intuition, boldness, or emotional clarity that feel new. Those moments are not temporary. They are indicators of who you are becoming. They are previews of the identity heaven has been forming in you. And now, Archangel Michael is helping you shed the old layers, the spiritual fatigue, the silent doubts, the emotional heaviness, the patterns of shrinking yourself. This shedding may feel gentle or intense at times, but it is necessary. Your new identity requires space to rise. There is also something important heaven wants you to know. Someone in your life, connected to you emotionally, mentally, or energetically, has been overshadowed by their own insecurity. They did not intend harm, but their unresolved emotions created a spiritual opening. Their envy, comparison, or internal conflict allowed your name to be carried into the wrong atmosphere. This is why God is cleaning your environment, not to punish them, but to protect you. As your identity strengthens, you will naturally attract and repel certain people. Some will draw closer because your light gives them hope. Others will pull away because your growth highlights their stagnant places. Both are part of the divine pruning process. Do not fear any shift in connections. Do not cling to what heaven is removing. Do not question the emotional distance forming with certain individuals. The new version of you cannot breathe in old atmospheres. This is the spiritual truth. And now you are nearing a moment where your identity and your destiny will meet. What is coming will not require you to force, beg, prove, or chase. It will align naturally with the awakened version of who you are becoming. The very fact that the enemy reacted so strongly confirms the magnitude of the transformation taking place inside you. You are stepping into alignment with your divine identity. You are stepping into clarity. You are stepping into spiritual maturity. And what comes next will reflect the strength heaven has been building within you. Beloved spirit, as you move into this next unfolding, slow your breath and steady your heart, because here the revelation takes a profound turn. Everything that has been happening since December 5th, every emotional shift, every internal awakening, every moment of unexpected clarity, has not only been about protection or exposure. It has been about positioning. Heaven is aligning you with a destiny that has been waiting patiently for your spirit to reach this level of readiness. And now, you are finally beginning to step into that divine timing. What you must understand is this: the whisper of your name and that dark gathering was not only meant to interfere with your identity. It was meant to interrupt the unfolding of your destiny path, the very route God has been clearing for you. Your destiny is not a vague idea or distant hope. It is a structured, intentional plan that heaven wrote long before you ever prayed about it. And right now, you are moving closer to that plan than at any other point in your life. The enemy whispered your name because they saw movement in places you couldn't yet see, movement in realms beyond your understanding, movement in the territory of your future. They sensed a shift that would affect everything connected to you: your purpose, your finances, your relationships, your spiritual authority, your influence. They tried to intercept the alignment before it could reach completion. But heaven stood in the middle of that interference and said, "Not this one. Not now. Not ever." Archangel Michael didn't simply block the attack, he secured your forward path. He created a spiritual barrier between you and the attempts to delay you. And now, the fog that once sat around your future is beginning to lift. You may feel it already: small sparks of clarity, sudden bursts of inner knowing, unexpected motivation rising in moments when you once felt unsure. These are signs that the blockage assigned to your destiny has been shattered. Your future is no longer cloudy. Your path is no longer tangled. Your steps are no longer hindered. What was once difficult to see is beginning to unfold in front of you with divine precision. Now listen, because this part matters deeply. Your destiny is entering a phase where opportunities will start appearing, not randomly, but by divine orchestration. And these opportunities will be different from the ones you've encountered before. These will not make you feel drained, confused, or hesitant. They will feel aligned. They will feel peaceful. They will feel right, in a way that resonates with your spirit long before your mind catches up. This is because your destiny is shifting into a season of divine timing, where everything that happens carries purpose. You will notice connections forming that feel too precise to be coincidence. You will notice ideas resurfacing that you once buried because the timing was off. You will notice dreams stirring that you thought you had outgrown. Nothing is resurfacing randomly. Everything is resurfacing by design. This is also why certain doors closed in your past. Heaven was waiting for your identity to strengthen before letting you step into the next layer of your calling. The version of you that exists today is wiser, sharper, more spiritually aware, and more emotionally balanced. You are not the person who once tolerated confusion. You are not the person who once overlooked red flags. You are not the person who once accepted less than what God intended for you. This new version of you is ready, and heaven knows it. This is why your destiny is accelerating. This is why your spirit is awakening. This is why the whisper happened in the first place. Because the enemy reacts strongest when the chosen begin walking toward the chapter they were born for. Now there is something powerful you need to understand. Your destiny is not simply about what you receive. It is also about who you become. The transformation unfolding inside you is part of the preparation for your purpose. Heaven needed you to rise internally before you rise externally. And now that rise has begun, you may feel a deep sense of transition, even if nothing major has changed outwardly yet. That feeling is a prophetic indication that your destiny is opening. It is the sensation of spiritual momentum. It is the vibration of a new chapter approaching. It is the alignment of your soul with heaven's timing. And Archangel Michael stands guard over this process. He is not only protecting your path, he is guiding it. He is clearing the spiritual debris that once clouded your steps. He is ensuring that you walk into your next season with confidence rather than confusion. Child of God, your destiny is not waiting in the distance anymore. It is at the door. It is drawing nearer. It is preparing to manifest. The enemy tried to whisper your name to stop it. But heaven is speaking your name to fulfill it. Beloved, breathe deeply as you enter this next revelation, because here the most intimate layer of truth begins to open. Everything that has unfolded from December 5th until now, the interception, the awakening, the sharpening of your identity, the clearing of your destiny path, has been preparing you for this moment. You are about to understand what part of your destiny is awakening first, and why heaven refused to allow any interference to touch you. There is a calling on your life that has been quietly growing beneath the surface. A calling that has been maturing in silence, watered by your tears, strengthened by your endurance, shaped through every season that felt confusing or heavy. You may have thought you were simply surviving those moments, but heaven was sculpting something inside you the entire time. And now, that calling is beginning to rise. It is not fully visible yet, but it is pressing against the surface of your life with insistence. This awakening in your destiny is connected to purpose, deep, meaningful purpose. Not simply tasks or achievements, but a divine role you were born to fulfill. A purpose that carries influence. A purpose that touches lives. A purpose that releases light. And it is this purpose that darkness tried to slow down when your name was whispered on December 5th. The enemy sensed the stirring before you did. They recognized the vibration of your purpose beginning to activate. They felt the rumbling of your potential moving inside you like a sleeping giant waking. But heaven saw it too, and unlike darkness, heaven celebrated it. That is why Archangel Michael responded instantly. There was no hesitation, no delay, no doubt in heaven's decision. Your purpose is too valuable, too powerful, too necessary for the times you are living in. Heaven chose to guard it fiercely. Now hear this with clarity. The first part of your destiny awakening is your voice. Not just your literal voice, but your spiritual voice. Your inner voice. Your intuitive voice. The voice that carries authority, truth, discernment, and influence. This voice has been suppressed, silenced, or overlooked in past seasons. sometimes by others, sometimes by circumstances, and sometimes by your own self-doubt. But heaven is reigniting it now. You have been sensing this shift already. You've been feeling a pull to speak truth, to express yourself, to stand firmly, to make decisions with conviction, to stop shrinking for the comfort of others. That is your spiritual voice awakening. And your awakened voice is a threat to darkness. Because a person who finds their voice finds their freedom, finds their power, finds their direction, finds their influence. Your voice carries the ability to shift atmospheres, whether you realize it or not. When you speak from clarity, confusion cannot survive. When you speak from alignment, fear loses its grip. When you speak from spiritual truth, darkness trembles. This is why the whisper of your name targeted your identity, because if darkness could distort your inner voice, they could silence your outer purpose. But heaven did not allow it. You are entering a season where your voice will begin to shape your destiny. You will speak differently. You will think differently. You will make decisions with greater confidence. You will stand with a strength you didn't realize you had. This internal transformation is not accidental. It is the first sign of your calling unlocking. But that is not all. There is something else awakening, something equally powerful. Your spiritual insight. Your discernment has been increasing steadily, to the point where you now feel when someone is not aligned with your spirit, even if they speak kindly. You sense discomfort where there is hidden intention. You feel resistance where something is spiritually off. This is not sensitivity, it is a gift. A gift heaven is sharpening because your destiny requires it. In the next season, you will begin seeing things you once overlooked. You will feel direction in places where you used to feel loss. You will notice divine nudges that guide you toward the right people and away from the wrong ones. This insight is precious, and heaven has assigned Archangel Michael to protect it until you learn how to use it confidently. And there is yet another layer of your destiny awakening, one that carries deep spiritual significance. Your capacity to influence others is expanding. This influence will not come from effort or force. It will come from presence, from authenticity, from spiritual authority. People will begin sensing something different about you. They will listen when you speak. They will feel peace when you walk into a room. They will gravitate toward you for clarity, encouragement, or direction. This influence is the mark of divine calling. Not influence for fame, but influence for purpose. Influence that touches hearts. Influence that aligns with heaven. Influence that lifts others out of spiritual darkness. This is why the enemy reacted. This is why the whisper happened. Because your awakening threatens everything that tried to keep you small. But none of it worked. Your spirit is rising. Your purpose is unfolding. Your destiny is gaining momentum. And now, heaven is preparing to reveal something even deeper, the connection between this awakening and the blessing that is coming. The two are intertwined. What you receive will match who you are becoming. Heaven never gives growth to someone unwilling to grow within. And you, beloved, have grown more than you know. Beloved, take a deep breath, because as you arrive at this final revelation, heaven is ready to bring every thread together. Everything that has unfolded from the moment your name was whispered in that dark spiritual gathering on December 5th, all the way through the interception, the exposure, the awakening of your identity, the sharpening of your voice, and the stirring of your destiny has been leading you right here. This is the moment heaven reveals the blessing that darkness feared most, the reason Archangel Michael stood up with such force, and the reason your spirit was pulled to this message with divine urgency. Your life is on the edge of a destiny shift, but this shift carries something even deeper: restoration. Not surface-level restoration, not temporary comfort, but divine restoration that reaches into every part of your life where loss, delay, heartbreak, confusion, or spiritual interference once tried to take root. Heaven has been preparing a blessing that restores your strength, your clarity, your alignment, your stability, and your joy. And this restoration is not random, it is precise. It is coming to the exact places where you were wounded, tested, or stretched. This blessing is the blessing the enemy feared the most, because restoration brings elevation. When God restores someone, He multiplies what was taken. He expands what was delayed. He repositions what was blocked. Restoration is not a return. Restoration is an upgrade. And the enemy knew that once restoration began in your life, the power of your testimony would break chains for others. Your rise would become a light for those who feel surrounded by darkness. That is why your name was whispered. It was not because you were weak. It was because you were carrying the blueprint for breakthrough. The blueprint that would impact not only your own life, but the lives of those connected to your purpose. But listen closely. The blessing coming to you is not only restoration, it is alignment. Heaven is aligning opportunities that match who you have become. Heaven is aligning relationships that reflect your new identity. Heaven is aligning direction that mirrors the awakening inside you. Everything that was once scattered is being gathered. Everything that was once unclear is becoming focused. Your spirit is being aligned with your future. This blessing also carries confirmation. You will receive signs, open doors, unexpected breakthroughs, or conversations that affirm the path Heaven wants you to walk. These confirmations will not feel forced. They will feel natural, effortless, and undeniably divine. They will come with peace, not pressure. They will come with clarity, not confusion. And there is one more powerful truth. The blessing approaching your life carries protection for your destiny. Archangel Michael has not only defended you, he has secured the pathway ahead of you. The attacks you endured in previous seasons will not visit you again in the same form. The spiritual interference that once clouded your identity has been dismantled. The emotional heaviness that tried to linger has been lifted. You are stepping into a chapter where your destiny will no longer be interrupted. What comes next is guided. What comes next is guarded. What comes next is God ordained. And now Heaven wants to reveal the final layer. You are entering a season where your life will reflect who you truly are. No more shrinking. No more second guessing. No more dimming your light for the comfort of others. No more tolerating atmospheres that drain your spirit. This new season is a match for your awakened identity. And the blessing coming to you will feel like stepping into a room you were always meant to enter. You will begin to see movement in areas that once felt locked. You will see progress where there was stagnation. You will see renewal in places you thought were finished. You will feel God's hand guiding you with precision. Even now, Heaven is surrounding you with a quiet, powerful assurance, a divine certainty, a spiritual alignment that says, you are ready, you are covered, you are chosen, and what is coming cannot be stopped. Everything that darkness attempted on December 5th failed. Everything that Heaven prepared for you is arriving. And everything that your spirit felt in these last days is confirmation that the shift has already begun. Now, beloved, before this final revelation closes, seal it with your declaration. Type "I receive my divine restoration" in the comments. Blessing code 1212 is now released over your new chapter. And now, as heaven's message comes to its completion, take a moment to strengthen the mission that carried this word into your life. Like, share, comment, spread this message, and subscribe so those who are fighting invisible battles can receive the same breakthrough you are receiving right now. Your engagement becomes a light for someone still walking through darkness. Beloved, as this restoration descends upon your life, understand this deeply. Every time you support this mission, you help heaven reach another soul whose name was whispered in darkness just like yours. You become part of the divine rescue, part of the light that interrupts spiritual interference in someone else's story. The word declares that when you sow into God's work, He opens the windows of heaven. And right now, those windows are stretching over your life with fresh oil. I hear this in the Spirit. If you help my message rise, I will lift the areas of your life that have been waiting for resurrection. This is not a moment to hesitate. It is a moment to respond prophetically. Through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, your giving becomes a spiritual act that heaven honors. And to those who step forward, I release a blessing. May restoration overflow in your home, your heart, and your destiny with divine abundance.